Now that I know how you really feel, I'm going back to the house, unpacking my suitcases, I'm getting a hotel, and we're parting ways.
Yes, don't hesitate, Miss Debbie, say it. You are parting ways, breaking up, splitting.
So call me a cab.
A devastated Debbie breaks up with Usama after he admits his main agenda with her is getting a green card so he can sell his art in the States.
I feel used right now. And guess what? I deserve it for believing in him.
Plus, her son Julian reacts to the news.
Well, we're not gonna sit here and tell you I told you so right now. We gotta figure out what's going on, what's the plan, what's next.
As Debbie confesses, she's now scared of Usama.
He keeps changing, and it always happens at night. I'm afraid of the dark here in Morocco. It's like he changes completely.
Well, she can't say he didn't warn her.
I know that there is a madness inside of me.
Oof, let's get into it. Hey 90 Day Fans fam, it's Melicia. Whew, there is so much to talk about this week. Whoops, wait, I got lipstick on my teeth. All right, back to it. But before we get into the biggest must-see moments from Oussama and Debbie, Danielle and Johan, and Rishi and Jen, I want to acknowledge and send my love to those of you who are in the middle of a transition in life, a transformational period that's been tough. I know we all have different circumstances, but know that you are not alone. I know it sounds cliche, but when you're going through it, it really does help to know that. Personally, I've been learning that life has an interesting way of maturing us all and taking us to the next level. Sometimes it can feel like you're going backwards or even losing your mind. I know the feeling, but I always try to remind myself that growth is not a linear process. A butterfly went through a dark period to become as beautiful as it is. So, continue to choose to believe that there is a wonderful future ahead waiting for you, over entertaining those fearful and negative thoughts. I know it can be easier said than done, but that's the work. Don't give up. You have my love and support, as well as the support from the kind-hearted souls in the community, who just continue to impress me. I love how we can talk about the messiness of this show, yet keep it wholesome at the same time.
Look at us.
Speaking of the mess, the first must-see moment from this week,
Hombre con pene grande. Whoa, wait.
had me embarrassed for Yohan and Danielle. But let me give you a quick backstory to catch up those who are not aware. Danielle is 42 from New York, and she moved to the Dominican Republic to be with her 32-year-old husband, Yohan. Now, Danielle came up with this idea for Yohan to meet her ex-boyfriend, Talon, who was in the DR on vacation. And she doesn't just want them to meet, she wants them to become friends, which, in my opinion, is pushing it. You can't force a friendship between two grown men. But anyway, all this has Yohan confused and bothered. On top of not liking the idea that she and her ex are still close,
No estoy contento contigo. Tu amigo más importante.
he has no interest in becoming friends with this man. Yet Danielle has been pretty persistent about it.
If this thing is going to piss Yohan off this much, he is going to be miserable for the majority of our relationship. Because I have a lot of people in my life that Yohan's not going to be fond of, clearly.
Well, when it comes to her ex, Talon, they were together for about 4 months in 2020. She basically called it a pandemic fling. Nothing serious, but she says it's blossomed into a friendship that brings value to her life.
Es tu amigo.
Sí.
All that being said, Danielle finally gets Yohan to meet Talon.
Yo veo a Telen llegando con pantalones rosados, camisa rosada. Es lo que parece un flamenco con esa ropa. Yo no me vestiría así ni muerto.
Oh, okay, Yohan. Don't be a hater.
What's going on,
Hey,
guys?
what's up?
How's it going?
How are you?
Yohan, nice to meet you.
Hola, nice to meet you.
Mucho gusto.
Once they sit down, it's straight awkward silence. And in my head, I'm thinking, talk, Danielle. You wanted this. Instead, Yohan takes the floor and starts asking questions he's curious about, like how did Taylor and Danielle meet and how long were they together? Then, I don't know if it was the drink he was sipping or what, but Yohan starts to make moves that honestly show his maturity level at this point. I understand. It was an uncomfortable situation for him, but sheesh.
Ok, calma, estando.
Stand up.
Hey.
First, he wanted to see how tall he was in comparison to Taylor. And then he asked the man what his shoe size is. For one reason alone.
¿Cuánto tu calza?
Zapatos?
Sí, ¿cuánto?
Well, how big are your feet?
14.
14.
Ah,
Sí.
y yo. Sí.
14.
Ah, Daniela le gusta hombre con pene grande.
Whoa.
Wait, hey,
Did I hear that right?
dice tu pie es grande.
14.
Sí, y pini grande.
The interesting part about this moment is that Danielle knows the answer to that. And shout out to Taylor for being a good sport. Yohan is really trying to see if he is packing. And just because it's big doesn't mean it's great, sweetie. That's the first myth. And second, are we in high school? I don't think shoe size always determines size. Whew. This is a lot. In my opinion, Yohan is way out of line. But obviously his comments and actions are coming from a place of insecurity. So a part of me can't help but think, oh, get it together, Yohan, get it together.
When Yohan asked me how big my penis was, it was extremely strange. That's a question that women usually ask. So the fact that a married man asked me that caught me off guard. But, you know, it happened.
No es por pública conversación, mi amor.
Mi amor, él pregunta a él, no a ti.
You don't ask someone that question.
¿Por qué?
Porque no está bien.
Es pregunta, mi amor. ¿Cuál es tu problema?
It's an embarrassing question to hear you ask. That's the problem. Yohan goes on to ask Taylor, how was his sex with Danielle?
No, girl.
Yes.
No hablo de mi relación con él contigo, porque no es apropiado.
Daniela te dice quiero sexo contigo.
Ahora,
Ahora sí.
No,
¿Eh?
no.
Why?
Because y'all are married, bro.
Did Yohan forget? Does the fact that he's a married man mean anything to him? Dang. Most of the time when you come across your ex and you're with your new partner, you want to, you know, show you got something good, something slick better. But I don't know about this situation. The convo ends with Taylor asking Yohan, does he trust Danielle? And Danielle breaking down in tears because clearly Yohan doesn't. Well, she wanted this meet and greet. Bright side is that she's seen a new side of her husband that she'll have to decide if she can live with. All right, super quick update on Rishi and Jen so we can move on to Debbie and Usama. To Rishi's surprise, Jen's friends direct the interpreter to tell his mom that he and Jen have been engaged for 3 years. This, as Rishi's family has been attempting to find him a bride in India.
I don't know what is going on. It was something like I'm dreaming. I just want to put those words back in the Randy's mouth, but I can't.
Of course, Rishi's mom is shocked. She had no clue he and Jen were even dating. Meanwhile, Jen has moved across the world to be with him. But that's another conversation. Once Jen and her friends leave Rishi's family's home, Rishi's uncle asks about Jen's age.
Jen की उम्र कितनी है? ऋषि जवाब दे यार.
48 साल की है.
And his mom was even more shocked to find out that he's engaged to someone 16 years older than him. At this point, she flat out tells Rishi no. He does not have her blessing to marry Jen. It's a relationship she won't accept. This conversation gave me flashbacks to Sumit talking to his parents about Jenny. So yeah, now Rishi has to break the news to Jen that his family does not support them getting married after she uprooted her life to be with him. All right, let's move on to the biggest must-see moment of the week. Debbie and Usama parting ways, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, it wouldn't be 90 Day if there wasn't a twist at the end, but we'll get to that.
So your real plan is just come get to the visa, get to the United States, and that's it for you. That's how it goes.
This week's episode picks up on Usama telling Debbie he wants her to take him to the United States so he can work and get paid for his art. An intense back and forth that started after Debbie asked Usama to make solid plans for the life that she thought they were building in Morocco.
My plan is to get visa, come with you, work here, because if I work there, I can make a lot of money to make our studio art, because there, art is valuable, and here, art not valuable. So you will bring me to the US, because for me, as a painter, as a poet, there is no future for me here. You will bring me to the USA, and can guarantee my future there.
It's all about your future? All about your future?
He just said yeah like that? Wow. And Usama's talking about making lots of money in the States off his art. Does he not know that artists struggle in the US too? I get that the circumstances are much better than Morocco, but it's still not easy. And Debbie knows that. That's probably why she said this.
I'm sorry. I love an artist and a poet, but I'm not supporting a man. I'm not going to marry someone that wants a visa. I'm not marrying someone that just wants a visa and go to the United States.
So I will stop this.
I am disgusted that Oussama's main agenda was for us to get married and move to the United States for him to get a green card. When did that come up in our 3 years of conversation?
Well, Miss Debbie, he's not gonna tell you that.
I'm using every last bit of my self-control not to knock him into next week. It's like, you're scum of the earth.
Debbie goes on to tell Usama how she feels about him.
No, you've done me dirty, you're nasty, you're not honorable, you're creepy, man.
You can tell she means that.
I'm creepy, I'm bad, I'm ugly, I'm not a I'm son of bitch, okay? Is that good for you?
Let's just go. Let's just get out of here. You know, this is like, it's no use beating a dead horse.
Let me say this. I think the majority of us can agree that Debbie has no business being in Morocco with 24-year-old Usama. We know that. I don't know if it was her loneliness making her blind, like Lacey says, or if it's trauma that caused her to feel as if this relationship could be something real. Or if she's living in a fairy tale world. I don't know, but she's there. And I just want to say, I'm glad she's there with the production crew. I'm not trying to paint Usama as a dangerous guy, but just look at this shot right here. Think about if they were alone. I would be terrified if I was in Debbie's shoes. She's a vulnerable woman, and Usama is not giving off safe and secure vibes right now at all.
You know, it takes a lot of courage to open your heart after being closed for 12 years. I opened a little door, and a poem slipped through that door. And I was stupid to read it. And I'll never read another poem again from another person.
Miss Debbie, let's not be dramatic. She's just a little hurt right now. Debbie goes on to tell Usama she's packing her things, leaving his parents' house, getting a hotel, and she tells him they are parting ways and to call her a cab.
Whatever you want.
I came here with good intentions and a belief that something like age didn't matter. I feel used right now. And guess what? I deserve it for believing in him.
Oh, well, she said it, so you don't have to. Personally, I don't think anyone deserves to get used like that. But when you don't listen to red flags, who else can you blame when something blows up in your face?
Okay, this is your car now.
Debbie leaves Usama and is giving off The Bachelor, and she didn't get a rose.
My inner child has been slapped around. He took my trust and he just urinated all over it.
Debbie and her choice of words. And there's Usama, left alone with a cat. He did say he prefers cats over people, just like he said he has madness in him. Does that ever concern you? His darker side or the madness he might have in him?
Yes, he has often mentioned that he has some kind of madness, and then he even tells me, Debbie, you have holy madness. And it's like, it became kind of a catchphrase, but I understood him to be kind of like the lone wolf in his community.
Look, moral of the story, believe somebody when they tell you who they are, and don't assume you can heal them.
I wanted Oussama to like bloom as a person because he had been downtrodden, such as myself.
It's beautiful to have the heart to help, but as they say, a person has to want it more for themselves than you want it for them.
Julian, it's Mama.
Yeah, I know it's you, Mom.
Debbie is so dramatic. Fast forward, she calls her son Julian to tell him what's going down in Morocco. And I'm like, yes, tell him what's up so he can put his superhero cape on and come get you.
What happened?
Well, he made some very cruel remarks that wasn't like the Usama I know. He keeps changing, and it always happens at night.
That's why she was calling him creepy.
I'm afraid of the dark here in Morocco. It's like he changes completely.
Sounds like he's more Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde than Prince Charming.
Well, and that's what I'm leading up to.
Debbie tells Julian about Usama wanting to use her to come to the States and get a visa. And although he's already warned his mom, he's pissed.
You know, I didn't ever see it happening like this. I was looking for my happily ever after, and I don't have that much ever after.
I need to make a compilation of Debbie and her phrases. She says she doesn't have that much ever after. KK says Debbie is a whole vibe. A vibe. She is a mood for sure. Now back to Julian. I'm assuming, knowing his mama, he tells her, okay, we don't need to waste any time.
You need to cut ties with him. You need to block him.
Let's make a plan to get you out of Morocco before Usama comes and tries to reel you back in. Then, Debbie says this.
I'm mourning the loss of my best friend. You know, now it's like, Debbie, just stop, leave, go home. But I don't know if I'm ready to do that.
What? Debbie is about to make me hang up on her.
Please hang up and try again.
I miss my buddy, you know? I miss my friend, you know?
You gotta cut ties with this guy. I knew he was no good from the beginning. I say, cut your losses, kick him to the curb, and come home.
Oh, Debbie is falling into the trap that comes with ending a toxic relationship. Yeah, y'all grew super close and he probably was your closest friend. But was he a good friend? No, because if he was, he wouldn't have said those things to you or treated you that way. Maybe she's afraid of being lonely again. I don't know. But next week, she meets up with Usama face to face.
I told you this before, that when I am angry, you don't have to care about what I'm saying. I love Debbie, and I don't want that fight in that day in the farm will be the last things between me and her.
You're like a ticking time bomb. I don't know if next week you're gonna get angry again, but love can conquer anything.
Whew. Hopefully, she's not sacrificing her own well-being, still taking on the job to try to heal him. That is the wrong tree to bark up. I sound like Debbie in her phrases, but all right, 90 Day Fans fam. Make sure you stick with ET because we are covering it all. Let's hope Miss Debbie makes the wise decision. I'll see you next time.